Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make my aloe vera oil at home, and all you're going to need is just some aloe vera, olive oil, and coconut oil. First, I'm just starting off with my aloe vera, and I'm cutting off the sharp edges just so I don't hurt myself because they're pretty sharp. And after I'm done, I just kind of slice my aloe vera into smaller pieces. And usually I don't use the tail end of the aloe vera. I usually cut that off just because there's not really much of the aloe vera stuff in it, especially at the tail, on the tail end of it. So I usually just cut that off and trash it. And yeah, so I'm just cutting off the sharp end. And then next thing I do is cut off the aloe vera into smaller slices, so that way I know some people use the actual the green, the top part of the aloe vera, but I don't use it. I just use the middle part of it to make the aloe vera juice. I don't know, just I've watched a few videos on that where people use the whole thing, or they just cut it and blend it. For me, I don't. So I just all I use is the middle part of the aloe vera, which is the where the nutrients are at. So that's the only part that I use. I usually just split it in the middle, and then I get the part of the aloe vera that I need, and that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. And some people said sometimes itches their skin a little bit and they have to wear gloves. If you have to wear gloves, do that. But for me, I haven't had any issues with it. So in terms of itching or anything like that. So all I'm doing is just going in and cutting up my aloe vera. And this is what the middle part is supposed to look like. That's the only part of it that I use, which is where the nutrients are at. And this is what it's supposed to look like when you're done. And all I do is just take that and put it in the blender. I usually don't put any water or anything like that. And the green part of the aloe vera, I usually just trash it. I don't use it. So again, I just put it in the blender. I don't put any water because aloe vera itself seems to have some water in it. And this is how it looks like when it's all blended. And then I just go over to my stove. I have the pot in the stove. And I just put, it's already, I think it's been sitting there for about maybe 20 seconds. I just poured the aloe vera liquid into the pot, let it stir for about maybe a minute or two. And that's when I go in and start adding my oils. And I usually add in the olive oil. I usually put about maybe a spoon or two of the olive oil. And also the same thing for the coconut oil. I don't use exact measurements. I know some people do, but I usually don't. I usually just use 1 or 2 spoons and just stir it and let it sit on the stove for at least another 3 to 5 more minutes and just let it really cook. And all I'm doing is just keep stirring it for the whole 2 to 5 minutes that I'm gonna let it sit in the stove for. And guys, it's really easy. It takes about less than 10 minutes overall, the process. And yeah, and all of these 3 oils are very essential in helping with hair growth. And I wanted to use something just simple and plain. I didn't want to use too much. That's why I'm only using the aloe vera, coconut oil, and the olive oil, and just using them to moisturize my hair, and also use it on my kids' hair every 2 to 3 days. Right now, I just recently cut my hair and it's pretty short, and I plan on using it maybe once a day, maybe. For the most part, I would try to do it, moisturize my hair maybe 2 or 3 times a week. So yeah, I'm just going in and adding in the oil, olive oil, and again, just stirring it. And this is what it's supposed to look like when it's all done. The stove is off, and I usually just let it sit for about 20 minutes until it's actually cooled down before I go ahead and strain it. Some people use a stocking cap to strain it, but I usually just use a strainer, and then I put a paper towel, 2 or 3 pieces of paper towel on the strainer, so that way it kind of helps hold in those some of those substances that I don't want. I just want it to be just the oil. I don't want any other substance that may end up sticking to your hair. So that's all I'm doing right now. Just putting the paper towel and just pouring the oil to strain it. And guys, the paper towel does a really good job straining it to the point where I don't have to buy a stocking cap. But if you do have one, that's also an option to use. But for me, since I have paper towel at home, and I've always just used that, and it does a really good job. I don't get any of the residual from the aloe vera on the oils at all. So it does a pretty good job straining it. Just in case you don't have a stocking cap at home, okay? And yeah, so the process is pretty easy right now. The oil is all cooled down. This is pretty much what I do after I'm done straining it. I usually just find a bottle. I was able to find a spray bottle that I was using for a different hair product. I forgot what it's called, but I just washed it and I put it in there and it was good to go. So we're gonna see how this works out. I've used aloe vera oil, aloe vera and different oils before in my hair, but I've never been really consistent. So I am starting over on my hair journey and growing my hair and just paying more attention to my hair. So I plan on being more consistent and actually documenting my hair journey this time around. Yeah. It was a pretty easy process. And I do have a plastic bag on my head. I was in the process of, I'm dyeing my hair while making the aloe vera oil at the same time. So that's why you see me wearing a Walmart plastic bag on my head. That's not a normal thing. Okay, guys? Just in case you're wondering. And this is the finished look for the oil. And like I mentioned, I just used this bottle it was like some moisturizing hair products that was in there. I just dump it out and rinse it out because again, I just wanted to use very limited amount of oils on my head and something that I know and I'm familiar with this time around. So I'm just pouring the oil in the bottle, and hopefully it will last me about maybe 2-3 weeks because I plan on using it on my hair and also my kids' hair. I've got 2 kids and I'm trying to convince my husband to use the oil as well. So we'll see if he's gonna use it. So all I'm doing is just spraying it on my hair and it felt so good. That's it for this video. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you on my next video. Take care, guys.